That's probably what it is, anyways.
It was like NVIDIA.
Oh my god, really?
Because my old one had a card. I think this new one does, but it's like an Alienware thing. I don't know. Am I
I mean,
live? Am I live streaming right
yeah.
now?
Wait, are you live right now? Let me reload. You are live right now. Hello.
Wait, let me go to YouTube so I can actually see my stream. Hold on.
Also, if anyone watching this stream can hear me as well.
We have a friend on call. Okay, wait. How do I not see? Oh, because I'm in YouTube Studio right now. I have to actually go to YouTube.
That's one thing that's super annoying, or that I find super annoying.
Okay, if I click on my channel, I should be able to see. Yes! Oh my god, this is
Yes, it works.
hilarious.
You can
Wait, I can
hear me
watch
as well.
myself right now. Oh, there's a lot of lag. It's like really fun. We have a friend on call. Okay, wait.
Wait,
How do I
crap,
not
no, it's gonna
see?
start. I have to
Oh, because I'm
mute
in
it
YouTube
anyways.
Studio right now. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get off call so that you can watch the stream.
Okay. See ya.
Bye. Okay. Now I know that this is all working. I'm gonna turn on my webcam. Oh, I can make this probably like. Oh, if I use both of my computer screens, that's fire. That's fire. Wait, what is it? Windows P, extend. I'm getting so pro at this. Okay. I'm just gonna make this full screen on that one. Beautiful. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Can you see this? I can see the chat. Oh, uh-oh. Okay. Um, yeah, let's look at sources. Where is webcam? I am not here. I am not here. Capture sources. Where is, what? Am I missing something? Close. Overlays? No. Dude, where's camera? Oh, video capture. It would be video capture. I think I can figure this out. Integrated webcam, no. This one. And now it's looking at me funny. There we go. Beautiful. Awesome. Okay, close. So now we get, I'm gonna put myself on the bottom. Yeah. So, okay, well, that's amazing. Are you able to see, oh, you are able to see him on the stream now. Okay, so we're good. All right, I'm gonna go now. Look at how many tabs I have. Look at how many of these. We have emails. Okay. This is how you find what you're looking for. Nope, we don't do it that way. Go, hey, save Streamlabs. You go comp rules MTG. Oh, why do I have like a little? There's a layer over there. Okay. Comprehensive rules. I'm just gonna open it in docs. Oh, that downloaded it. Okay, sure. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. All right. So we're gonna start from the beginning. Magic the Gathering comprehensive rule. Hmm, I'm getting some ad from that. From when I tried to open, you can't see what's going on. Okay, cool. That's done. Test widget, start recording. I would like to have, there we go. Because now I can also upload this, I think. I don't know. Magic the Gathering comprehensive rules. These rules are effective as of April 4th, 2025. April 4th? Was that when? What is the latest set? I don't know. I'm gonna I'm gonna take away. Oh, Tarkir. That was Tarkir. This document is the ultimate authority for Magic the Gathering competitive gameplay. It consists of a series of numbered rules followed by a glossary. Many of the numbered rules are divided into sub-rules, and each separate rule and sub-rule of the game has its own number. Note that sub-rules skip letters 1 and 0 due to potential confusion with the numbers 1 and 0. So this is L and O. And they got me. Subrule 704.5k is followed. What? Subrule 704.5k is followed by 704.5m. Then by 704.5n and 704.5p. Right, because they skipped. Okay, yes. For example, changes may have been made to this document since its publication. You can download the most recent version, which is what we just did. We are special people because of that. Okay, contents. The reason I wanted to do this, I've tried to do this in the past and I never made the video like fully published. But a stream, you don't have to actually do the work. It's just people watch it while you do the thing. Um, and then whatever footage I get from the stream, I can just post later, and I don't have to like edit it because I won't feel obligated to. So it's gonna be a lot easier for me to produce this. The other reason is the reason I wanted to do this tonight. I had a question about um, effects where you instruct multiple players to do something that requires revealing hidden information at the same time. Like if a card says each player discards a card, I would want to know what my opponents are discarding before I discard a card. Like if I'm playing on Arena, it'll happen both of you at the same time because it's a computer and it can do that. I'm pretty sure. But like yeah, yeah, because Liliana shows up all the time, and she's each player discards a card. But like, I don't know if that's actually how the game says that it works. Because some part of me thinks it's like app-nap order. Because there are some effects that just say like each player discards a card, and then a lot more happens after that for each player, which makes it sound like it's copying the effect in turn order. So maybe we'll get there. That would be what game concepts? That would be like resolving effects, right? Are players here? 102 players. Well, let's find out. All right. All right. There's a lot of stuff. We're going to skip past the glossary. Not the glossary. We're going to skip past the table of contents. So this document is approximately 299 pages long. And I I aim to cover all of that, not tonight. That would be insane. But over the course of my lifetime. So starting at 100, because then you get 3 digits. I assume is why they did that. 1. Game concepts. General. 100.1. Here we go. These Magic rules apply to any Magic game with 2 or more players, including 2-player games and multiplayer games. That's a statement you can say. 101.1a. A 2-player game is a game that begins with only 2 players. Oh, now that makes some assumptions, because that assumes that if a new player joins in the game, it's still a 2-player game. And thus I'm assuming the rules that only specifically mention 2-player games now apply to that. I'm going to change the size. You only get the footage if you hit record on the stream software. Well, it's a good thing I did. Sorry, I got to these way later than I should have. It's just I haven't. Does it not like. I should have enabled notifications or something. Anyway. Toggle. Selected script. Anyway. 101.1b. A multiplayer game is a game that begins with more than 2 players. See Section 8, Multiplayer Rules. Again, same thing. If a player loses the game in a multiplayer game, it is still a multiplayer game because the rules that you agreed to coming into the game were the rules agreed to for a multiplayer game, and they do not change. 100.2. To play, each player needs their own deck of traditional Magic cards, small items to represent any tokens and counters, and some way to clearly track life totals. Note the usage of the word traditional. This is important. Small items to represent any tokens and counters in some way to clearly track life totals. That's only if you're playing in a sanctioned event. Technically, you could use these rules and avoid this part if you and your opponent have good enough memory. I wouldn't advise that though. 100.2a. In constructed play, a way of playing in which each player creates their own deck ahead of time. Each deck has a minimum deck size of 60 cards. A constructed deck may contain any number of basic land cards and no more than 4 of any card with a particular English name other than basic lands. For the purposes of deck construction, with interchangeable names have the same English name. Cards with interchangeable names have the same English name. Okay. Constructed play has a deck size has a minimum of 60 cards. So 100.2a is interesting in that you'll see down here Commander, and I don't even think this mentions like Highlander, like Canadian Highlander. Those formats all have different amounts of cards that you can have in your deck. It isn't just 60, but I guess constructed play as of 2025 is limited to the formats in which the deck size is 60, 4 of a kind, all that. 100.2b. In limited play, a way of playing in which each player gets the same quantity of unopened Magic product, such as booster packs, and creates their own deck using only this product and basic land cards. Each deck has a minimum deck size of 40 cards. A limited deck may contain as many duplicates of a card as are included with the product. Yeah, if you open 7 Bolt Waves in your Foundations draft, you can play all of them in the same deck and win on turn 5 or 4. I think it's 5. No, it's 4, if you're able to draw that many cards. Magical Christmas Land. 100.2c. Oh wait, I had another note on this, which was minimum of 40 cards. This rule is another one that excludes Commander format. A Commander limited play. Okay. it's the word they're using, is restricted to 60 minimum cards, and I don't know if they'll ever talk about that, but we'll see. 100.2c. Commander decks are subject to additional deck building restrictions and requirements. See Rule 903 Commander for details. Maybe they'll talk about it there. 100.2d. Some formats and casual play variants allow players to use a supplementary deck of non-traditional Magic cards. Yeah, Rule 108.2a, which we'll hopefully get to tonight. We'll talk about traditionality. These supplementary decks have their own deck construction rules. See Rule 717 Attraction Cards, Rule 901 Plane Chase, and Rule 904 Arch Enemy. This does not mention stickers. Did they remove all stickers from constructed play? I don't remember. 100.3. Some cards require coins or traditional dice. Some casual variants require additional items such as specifically designed cards, non-traditional Magic cards, and specialized dice. These are not requirements. I don't know why this rule specifically is very strange, because there is no point, and this is something that you could argue about with all forms of law that exist in the world, because at some point somebody wrote this because it was true, and because if you're playing Magic in a perfect world where all rules are followed that can be followed, and all rules can be followed because there is some entity allowing you to do that, or you just have access to everything you need, then of course you would adhere to Rule 100.3. But some people don't have additional items such as designated cards, non-traditional Magic cards. Specialized dice is one of them. So you'll see this if you're playing for any of the D&D cards that say roll a D blank, or coins, or traditional dice like these. Technically, this is true that you have to have a coin or a die, a d20, a d12, a d10, but this rule does not specify what represents a coin or traditional die. Like, this just uses plain English. And if you were to go into an event, and so this is the disparity between Magic Land and real life. If you were to go to an event and you were to pull out a d20, and an effect tells you to flip a coin, and you instead take out your d20, you say heads represented by all even numbers, and tails is represented by all odd numbers, no judge is going to call you for that. Your opponent gets a judge over there and tells you, sir, or ma'am, or Dark Lord they, we require a die for this, actually, or a coin for this specific effect. They're not going to say, oh, we're giving you a warning for that, buddy. No, because that's stupid. Because we all, as people, recognize and accept that the concept of a coin or the concept of a die can be um, not mocked. It's like created, fabricated by something else, something that represents it and does the exact same job. We don't call a d20 a coin when we use it like a coin, even though if we were to play a game of Magic, we would call it a coin so that it works with this rule, but it shouldn't. You would be breaking a rule. But again, there's a difference between rules and reality, and it's like jaywalking. If you go onto a road where there are no cars and you cross the street where there's no crosswalk, then there is nobody there to penalize you. And even if there is somebody there to penalize you, even if there is a cop or some police officer in a car sitting idly near you, they're never going to call you out for that because unless it's like some highway or something, that is a law that exists to serve you more than it exists to serve like other people. And in that case, it's generally accepted that if you break that law, it's like not a big deal. In summary, it's not a big deal. 100.4, each player may also have a sideboard, which is a group of additional cards the player may use to modify their deck between games of a match. I'm surprised this doesn't. Oh, yeah, okay. 100.4a. In constructed play, a sideboard may contain no more than 15 cards. The 4 card limit applies to the combined deck and sideboard. You cannot have 2 Bolt Waves in your main deck and 7 of them in the sideboard, or 4 of them in the sideboard. Doesn't work. You have to have 2 and 2, 4 and 0, or 3 and 1. 100.4b. In limited play involving individual players. Okay. All cards in a player's card pool not included in their deck are in that player's sideboard. This is something that I tell new players all the time when they go to the game store, and if you have had an experienced friend with you, or if you are just very experienced at Magic, you would know this, but it's okay if you don't. If you make a deck in a draft or in a pre-release, that deck is your deck, and it becomes your library when you're playing the game. Anything outside of the deck is outside the game. Otherwise, your sideboard. So if you draft a bunch of commons that you don't use, let's say your draft's aggressive negotiation, and then you decide it doesn't make the cut in your Tarkir Dragonstorm deck. It goes off to the side, you put it in your box, you hide it from your opponent because they don't have to see that. And then once you go to your round 2, in between those rounds, after you've won or lost your first game, game 2 of round 1, you can take that card and put it in your deck and take a card out from your deck. The only way that this doesn't work is if you take a card out from your deck and then you have a 39 card deck, or if you're constructed play a 59 card deck. That deck is illegal. You can get called out for that. Okay. 100.4c. In limited play involving the two-headed giant multiplayer variant, all cards in a team's card pool, but not either player's deck, are in that team's sideboard. It's the exact same rule. It just says if you have a teammate and you're playing two-headed giant, you can take their sideboard cards too, because you share a pool in two-headed giant. You guys should all try two-headed giant if you haven't. Hey, Sashi. There's a dog here with me, but she's the one who doesn't want to be lifted, like picked up, so I'm not going to. But if it was Sammy, I would. 100.4d. In limited play involving other multiplayer team variants, each card in a team's card pool, but not in their deck, is assigned to the sideboard of one of those players. Each player has their own sideboard, and cards may not be transferred between players. So unless you're playing two-headed giant, if you have a team, completely different thing. You are each your own entity, and you each have your own sideboard. 100.5. This is a standalone rule. If a deck must contain at least a certain number of cards, that number is referred to as a minimum deck size. There is no maximum deck size for non-commander decks. So there's a story here, and I don't remember if it was a Magic story first or if it was a Pokemon story or Yu-Gi-Oh story, but I know that there's a Pokemon story about this where somebody brought like a 2,200 card deck that just stalled out the game and drew you out basically every game. And that forced them to make a rule that said that you have a maximum deck size. Magic the Gathering, oh no, there's no maximum deck size. I can do that all I want, and I can destroy my local game store. No. Magic comprehensive rules are the comprehensive rules for when you are playing the game. They are not the comprehensive rules for the different situations in which you're playing the game. One of those situations is if you're at a game store in a sanctioned event. And a sanctioned event is one that has a tournament organizer, which is a person who's either playing with you, and you'll know because they'll be talking, instructing you guys at the start of the tournament, or they'll be off to the side and you'll figure it out. You know when you're playing in a sanctioned event, and you know because there's like a bracket. You can move up and down. Your wins and losses are counted. In that kind of game, there's a whole other set of rules. It is the we're gonna figure this out. We're doing this now. I don't even know. It's Magic competitive. It's not how you spell it. Rules. DCI, is that what it's called? Oh, I should have opened the other one. This is a okay. This is an article. No, this is MagicJudges.org. Well, here you go. If you wanted to do this, this is maybe the sequel. We'll have a sequel lined up for this series. Anyway, Commander decks you have to have exactly 100 cards. This is why they say this. But yeah, I think the rule is if you are able to shuffle your deck using your hands or using, I guess, the shuffling method you would normally use. Like, I don't know how that works if you're disabled. I don't know if you can play Magic if you don't have hands. You probably have somebody else do it for you. If you can't shuffle your deck, you can't play your deck. It's not allowed. 100.6. Most Magic tournaments organize play activities where players. Oh, here we go. Organized play activities where players compete against other players to win prizes. Have additional rules. Oh my gosh, covered in Magic the Gathering tournament rules. Found it. Here's the link, guys. Are you able to click on it? Yeah. These rules may limit the use of some cards, including barring all cards from older sets. That's called a ban. Barring all cards from older sets. Oh, that's not just ban, that's like how rotation works. Anyway, I find it strange that this makes it sound like they're not going to talk about like Modern and Pioneer and other formats and how they're structured in terms. I actually think that they don't even mention in this document. 100.6a. Tournaments usually consist of a series of matches. Okay, a two-player match usually involves playing until one player has won 2 games. A multiplayer match usually consists of only one game. Games are individually the ones where you can win or lose, and then a match is the one where that just decides your score in the tournament. So you can remember this because a card might say you win the game. It will never say you win the match. The game is like the singles digit, whereas the matches is like the tens digit. And most of the time, we only look at the tens digit if you're the tournament organizer. 100.6b. Players can use the Magic Store and event locator at wizards.com/locator to find tournaments in their area. This is not a rule. This is just a fact. 100.7. Certain cards are intended for casual play and may have features and text that aren't covered by these rules. These include mystery booster playtest cards, promotional cards, and cards in unsets. I have to do it. They put the quotation marks there. That were printed with a silver border and cards in the Unfinity. Wow. They're going crazy on this. They have the trademark, it's italicized expansion that have an acorn symbol at the bottom of the card. So this rule basically says you're allowed to do it if you are aware that you're allowed to do it. For casual play, it may have features and text that aren't covered. I don't know if there's any one rule. Maybe we'll find it in the golden rules, but I don't know if there's any rule here that says if you're playing casually, you may disregard any of these rules. Because there are people who play with fake cards all the time, and I don't mean in a negative way. I mean, there's no money on the line and you're playing with proxies, which is totally fine if everybody knows about it and is happy with it. It's totally fine to do that. This rule says nothing about it. So far as we're reading, you're not allowed, but nobody's gonna stop you, and we'll see if they change that. 101. The Magic Golden Rules. 101.1. Whenever a card's text directly contradicts these rules, the card takes precedence. The card overrides only the rule that applies to that specific situation. The only exception is that a player can concede the game at any time. The use of the phrase anytime here is different than the use of the phrase anytime in the game, and it probably will mention that, but anytime here literally means anytime. You can concede when you're drawing in the middle of drawing a card. You can concede when you sit down at the table. You can concede at any time. I'm not going to get into the politics of this because conceding in a multiplayer game can have an effect on it. I'm just going to say save it for the emergencies. And if you have to navigate any social situations, do it with grace and respect and concede when it is respectful to other people or when you are when you are being respectful to yourself and to your own time in a manner that does not harm others. 101.2. When a rule or effect allows or directs something to happen and another effect states that it can't happen, the can't effect takes precedence. Let's say you have a card. Oh, example. Well, this is boring. If one effect reads you may play an additional land this turn, and another reads you can't play lands this turn, the effect that precludes you from playing lands wins. The effect that says no lands wins. Classic example. I thought I had a classic example. What, like must be blocked and can't be blocked. If a card says it must be blocked, it always says if able at the end, but you don't even need that text because if it also said that it can't be blocked, then there's no rule that would force your opponent's cards to break that specific line of text that says it can't be blocked. Any card that can't do something simply cannot do it. If you have a card that says you may cast creature spells, just blank, just that's it, and it's you may cast creature spells, and then an opponent has a card that says that player cannot cast creature spells, you can't cast creature spells. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work. 101.2a. Adding abilities to objects and removing abilities from objects doesn't fall under this rule. I'm confused about that. We'll get there. 101.3. Any part of an instruction that's impossible to perform is ignored. In many cases, the card will specify consequences for this. If it doesn't, there's no effect. Putting a sorcery on the battlefield can't happen, so you ignore that part of the card if it is forced to do it. 101.4. If multiple players would make choices and or take actions at the same time, oh my god, we found it! The active player, the player whose turn it is, makes any choices required, then the next player in turn order makes any choices followed by the remaining non-active players, oh my gosh, then the actions happen simultaneously. This rule is often referred to as the active player, non-active player, and they mention they do it, nap order rule. And that's in quotations. Ain't this fun? So here's the example. Each player sacrifices a creature. So first, the active player chooses a creature they control. Active, it never says this. Active player means the player whose turn it is. You'll never see a card that says the player whose turn it is may... Wait. Do you? Wait. Oh, whose? Whose turn? I rescind my statement. Oh, I just opened the... I think I just opened a new one, or I think I just completely lost what was happening there. Instead of pressing F... There we go. I closed everything. Oh! Yikes. I'm doing pretty bad, I have to say. Opera. When you close one window, everything goes down. Why? Here we go. Here we go. Beautiful. We're back. I don't know. It kept recording. I guess it just went dark. How's it going in the chat? 2 viewers. Oh, well, one of them is me, right? We're gonna get a more accurate reading this way. Alright. This is not what we want. It's this one. I originally intended this series to be like something you could fall asleep to. I still stand by that. I could probably edit out all the crazy stuff. Wow, we really did not get far. Okay. If multiple players have to sacrifice a creature at the same time, first the active player chooses a creature they control. There's a difference between choose and do. So then each non-active player in turn order chooses a creature they control. Then all creatures chosen this way are sacrificed simultaneously. So if I choose a card that says, my example doesn't really work within the rules of Magic, but let's say I have a card that says when this creature dies, each player loses life equal to the number of creatures they control. That card is not going to see each player having one creature if they had one creature before sacrificing it. Even if I go first and I choose that creature first, they all die at the same time. This works the same with discarding. If you have to choose a card to discard, you choose that privately. If you have to choose a card to sacrifice, you choose that publicly. And that's not even... Oh yeah, that's covered right here. 101.4a. If an effect has each player choose a card in a hidden zone, such as their hand or library, those cards remain face down as they're chosen. However, each player must clearly indicate which face down card they're choosing. Are you thinking it? Revealed cards. 101.4b. A player knows the choices made by the previous players when making their choice, except as specified in 101.4. So, something about revealing a card to an opponent is that they get to see it once and then it's back in your hand. And they can take notes and they can try to remember which one it is and where it is in your hand. But then you can do this and start shuffling your hand behind your back and then go, all right, I choose this one to discard. And they won't know which one it is, and that's perfectly legal. You're perfectly and totally allowed to do that. Your opponent is not does not have a um, firm grip on information about the cards in your hand and their position. Those are all subject to change because it is a hidden zone, which only you are allowed to know the order of. Library is different, you don't even get to know that. 101.4b, unless of course it's like the top card of your library is revealed. Or, okay, actually, same thing with the library. Is if every card in the library has been revealed at some point, which happens in games, if every card, we know what they all are, then you have to choose one of those. You can't obscure that information. So if your opponent is taking notes, then yes, they'll be able to figure out which card it is. But if they're not taking notes and if they forget, you don't have to tell them. They had to remember at that one point where they knew the information, and now that information does not need to be known to them or to you. You don't get to look at your deck after revealing it unless your opponent says, sure, I'll allow it. 101.4b. A player knows the choices, yes. 101.4c. If a player would make more than one choice at the same time, they make all the decisions in the order specified. If no order is specified, they choose the order. That's a pretty important one for some cards, but you'll have to figure that out in your own time. Because there's specific circumstances. 101.4d. If a choice made by a non-active player causes the active player, or a different non-active player earlier in the turn order, to have to make a choice, app-nap order is restarted for all outstanding choices. This sounds weird, but okay, if a choice made by a non-active player causes the active player, so it's not it's your turn and your opponent chooses to sacrifice something or a different non-active player. So even if you're in a 4-player game, no, okay, yeah. Even if you're in a 4-player game and you're player 1, there's 2, 3, and 4. Player 4 makes a choice that forces you, or even player 3 to make a choice. So let's say there is a card that says, this is going to be super complicated, but each player may choose friend or foe. For each player who chose friend, each player chooses um, good or bad. Let's just stick with that. So person 4 chooses friend, and now every player has to choose good or bad for them. We're going to restart. All right, app order is restarted for all outstanding choices. Now, of course, it says that then each player chooses good or bad. So we'll go all around. We'll say friend or foe, and then we'll restart app order to say good or bad. 101.4e. If multiple players would make choices or take actions while starting the game, the starting player is considered the active player and each other player is considered a non-active player. Serum powder is in your hand. You have the choice to mulligan, and you are not playing first. You are the active player, and if an effect would trigger somehow by you exiling your hand and drawing a new hand, which is what serum powder does, then you are considered the active player, and it's considered your turn technically, even though you are not the starting player because of this rule. 102 players. Interesting that this comes after 101, but alright, all is fair game. 102.1. A player is one of the people in the game. The active player. Whoa, that's a like philosophical statement. This you should not be playing Magic and asking, "Am I a person?" If if you're having that question, maybe take a break from Magic. The active player is a player whose turn it is. The other players are non-active players. So it does say it. Cool, good to know. 102.2. In a two-player game, a player's opponent is the other player. In a multiplayer game, a player's teammates are the other players on their team, and a player's opponents are all players not on their team. Just so you know, you don't get to choose who your teammate is. It's everybody who is implicitly on your team from the start of the game. If you're playing, if you've decided among friends that you are going to be playing a 2v2 game, then it is well known that you have teammates. But you cannot in the middle of the game decide that, oh, I really like you, Billy, because you let me draw a card off of Ristic Study. You didn't pay the one. You're my friend now. You're not my opponent. It doesn't work that way. I guess we're on to 102.4 then. Do you even play CEDH ma bro? Thank you, Drew the Meme Monster, for joining. No, I don't even play CEDH ma bro. All right. um, I see. Would you care to explain why you have that question? Because I get the feeling it has something to do with AppNap. Because I know that if you're playing CEDH, it's a lot of like multiplayer back and forth. I played it once, and it was a strange game. Drew the Meme Monster. Thanks for supporting me and watching my stream. People like you really make the world go round. Alright, 102.4. If a speller ability may use the term your team as shorthand for you and your teammates in a game that isn't multiplayer, but game between teams. Oh my god. 102.4. If a speller ability may use the term your team as shorthand for you and your teammates in a game that isn't multiplayer, game between teams, your team means the same thing as you. If you don't have teammates, your team is you. That's what this means. It's so good, dog. Oh, you're okay. Do you play CDH a lot? I realize there's a lot of like latency between. Drew, you're a very interesting person. Yeah, man, it's awesome. There's a group of people at my local game store who consistently plays, and yeah, super duper interactive. Okay, yeah, I know that like CEDH makes you a better player, which is why I probably should try it more often. I think I'm just more relaxed um, when I'm using my own decks. I don't have a CEDH deck. Love seeing Thoracle every game it's faced. um, Still Thoracle. Is there like is it just been decided that Thoracle is the best thing to be doing in CEDH, or like is it contended? Because I know that there are multiple decks, but if Thoracle is just the best thing to be doing, then why isn't everybody doing that? 103 starting the game. 103.1. At the start of the game, the players determine which one of them will choose who takes the first turn. Yes, it is, but there are other packages. So yes, it's the best thing to be doing. But then why would people play other things? Like, I guess maybe for consistency? I don't know, blue and black definitely seem the most consistent colors too. Because everyone is prepared for it, so you, like, Jerry, your way to win with it through 15 counter spells using silence effects. Okay, okay, that makes sense actually, because I see what you're saying. It's kind of like rock, paper, scissors. This is super simplified version of what you're saying. Um, so yeah, okay, okay. No, that's really interesting. I I want to go into game design. Like, okay, so what's being said here is that once you know that a strategy is effective, people will start to play against that strategy, making their decks better. If that, I recently saw this in a video that talked about the phrase, um, "He who smelt it has dealt it." Um, in a world where we know that phrase exists, it doesn't work anymore because you can assume that if you were the one who farted, um, saying that you smelled the fart gives away information. But since everybody knows that you can do that, and we all know about the rule, then we can all meta against it and say, oh, if you were the one who did it, then you were probably the one who said that you smelled it. Um, but then you could say the inverse thing because now it's the least likely thing for a person to do because we all know about the rule and you can go back and forth infinitely. So I love that there's a balance and that there's a give and take between the decks in all competitive formats. It seems like it's not a solved. I love formats that aren't solved. Hogak Summer is an example of like, yeah, that was bad. Nadu was bad because not only was it the best thing to be doing, but it was also so much better than everything else that metaing against it created it was just still inviable and created an atmosphere where you couldn't play anything else and win. Oh, basically. Point out. Oh my God, wait, what are you saying? I play TNT, which is Tymna and Thrasios. The point is to assemble an infinite mana and draw your whole deck and cast Oracle. I don't want to say God Diggle. What is that? Non-monotheistic. Wait, Crystal. What is that? Monothetic strategy games? Okay, I'm gonna take a break from this, and I'm gonna get my nail polish. I was intending to do this tonight, and it's really late, so I wanted to get it done before finishing the stream. Monothetic. Well, okay, let me search what monothetic means. Like, define. Did you know if you swear at AI, it won't, like, I'm gonna keep swearing out of my videos for now, but it won't show up. Okay, monothetic. Positing but one essential element. Rock, paper, scissors is monothetic, right? Is that what you mean? Like super, super simple. Okay. I still have some like residual thing on my. I'm just gonna take it off my hand. I don't know. Is this bad? Should I get like a remover thing? I probably should. Is nail polish remover a thing? I don't even. I'm not in the weeds about this kind of thing yet. What a lovely way to spend a stream. You're the meme monster. I love Pride Month too. What, nail polish remover is a real thing? I know that like makeup remover is a thing. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Wait, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Cause I didn't put like a like oh, I didn't put a anything except just the black nail polish. It's like really old nail polish too. It's from my sister's room. She said yes to it. She didn't like I didn't sneak into her room and take anything nail polish wise that was. Uh, but this is like old stuff, and it has not even been a week, I don't think, since I put it on. I'm getting this like everywhere. Wait, let's. Is there a way to make this work? Wherein you are able to see the haps that's happening? I think so. Almost. Yes. Yes. Right? I'm close. I'm close. We're doing this the hard way. As they say, you can do it the hard way or the flaccid way. What if I just kept these two fingers black? Because they somehow stayed the most intact. Crystal, you don't have to clone yourself twice. I'm okay with seeing one viewer, it's fine. We're so close. Oh, you can't like even see what's happening here. There's too much going on. Okay. Good thing about the good thing about this is that I have not been biting my nails, so big upside to wearing nail polish. Okay. Is it all good? Is it all... There are no particulates on my nails? Sure. So I bought this. It's like... Hold on. Let's make this big. I'm big now. It was $3. And I bought this, I think it was $4. And it says color grip base coat, so Here we go. This will prevent it from chipping, so I've heard. I don't know how thick to apply it. That was pretty thick. Yeah, I'll take some off. Okay. Yeah, this this is more the amount that I should be using probably. In my head, I was thinking I'd be able to do this while reading the rules, and I see that that is totally not possible. This has my complete and undivided attention. It's triggering the same. It's triggering like half of the same synapses that are triggered when I paint. It's like all the accuracy and all the like technique without any of the creativity and thought behind it. It's like turn your brain off mode for artists. Okay, what do I do? One hand at a time, or oh no, I'll let it dry. Do I let it dry? Are there instructions? Ask my sister. She just opened the door. She said yes to let dry. So we're gonna do the other hand. Oh no, I'm tripping. What's nail polish made of? Because that is now on my desk. That was like way too much. We can share. I can share this between my other fingers. There we go. Yeah, I'm assuming this does not have to be thick. So logically speaking, that makes sense. Because it's the nail polish that you'd want to be thick, not the base coat, right? Oh, this is my first time completely and independently doing this by myself. Oh. Okay. While we're waiting for that to dry. Cool. 103. Starting the game. I've started 103.1, so the players may use any mutually agreeable. See? Consent implies both people are knowing and agreeing. The player who made the choice in that game makes the choice in this game. Oh, so it's like a full redo if you get a draw. Okay. The player chosen to take the first turn is the starting player. The game's default turn order begins with the starting player and proceeds clockwise. I'm gonna get a thing for that. I realize you can't even see what I'm reading, like in the slightest. Okay, my first hand is dry. I'll finish the roll and then I'll get onto it. Um, this is a big thing because it's not intuitive that if you roll a 20 to go first and your friend rolls a 17, if they're sitting across the table from you and you're playing commander, they have two other players to get to before it's their turn, even if both those players rolled twos. And this is assuming you're rolling a d20 to decide who's going first, but because you go clockwise, they'll be the last person if you're, you know, this is you, and this is them. Right? Not intuitive, but that's how it works. And if you've played, but if you're somebody who's played board games before, you'll know this is shared teams, shared team turns is like you take your turns at the same time. There's a starting team rather than a starting player, which basically means both of you are the starting player. Okay. I'm big again. Oh, and I'm moving. Whoop. You can see my almost famous poster. So this one is called Isn't She Minty? Which, yes, it's talking specifically about me. I got a notification. Monolichka. You wanna... What? Monolichka. Is that something I should not be reading out loud? Look at this color. Actually, I don't know. It looks like good enough. I like green, so this was the obvious buy for me. Again, this is the cheap brand. They did not have a big selection. Okay, why is this not applying? Like, let's get a little more, I guess. Yes, there you go. I definitely do notice a difference between this and the other brand that I used last time. Where this one's more like gel-like. And if you're wondering about that dark spot right there, I think they call it a blood blister. You get that for playing guitar um, the stupid way. I love the stupid way. It's like I see that appear on my thumb and I go, ooh, achievement get. So here's something they don't teach you in nail polish school. You get a little bit on your finger. Oh, you get a little, if you, if you can focus, you'll just have to imagine this in your head. If you get a little bit on the side of your finger, who gaff? So it's kind of beautiful, actually. Yeah, I don't think I've been pressing hard enough. The brush has not been fanning out. Yeah, I feel like you can do too little, but you can't really do too much unless you make it like ridiculously thick. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll find out. But so far I'm thinking this is going okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was a good stroke. Right? I think so. I don't want to touch it, but I kind of want to get rid of the stuff that I accidentally, like, spilled over. 'Cause those are the dark spots from the paint that I scraped. But, like, I feel good about that. It's better than before. I think I'll improve on my other hand. You'll see. You'll all see. Oh, this is my bad hand that I'm using. I'm one of them lefties. One of them liberals. But literally, I am a left-handed person. There you go. Yeah, I'm getting it, like, all everywhere. I'm spray and pray method. Okay. I'm gonna move this forward or, like, go a little more up. Yeah. I got a thing on the side. Oh, I just destroyed that. I just decimated that nail. There we go, fixed. All better. Kisses from mommy. Okay, we'll manage, and I won't explode, so. I think that there's something calming about having an audience. I don't know if most people would agree with me, but here's like a good example of this is if you're playing a game that normally enrages you, but there are people in front of you. Well, now you can't be angry in front of people because that looks bad. So you're forced to be a good person and not get angry and start throwing things, which like it feels weird to be faking being a good person, but that's what most of being a good person is. And I feel like people who try to say that they're not good because they feel like they're only faking it for other people, that's just self-inflicted imposter syndrome. You don't have to feel that way because that's what 90% of people are doing all the time. Dignity is really a kind of a lost concept, I think. Oh, I'm just totally destroying this. This is going terrible on this nail. I think it's drying, like, as I'm going. I think gonna have to do a little bit of a purge here. I don't know. I'll just add another bit and then move on to the next nail. So Crystal, I saw your comment. What part are you referring to? That's good. Just generally speaking, it's like a it's like a good thing. I've done a good thing. Okay, next. Oh, we're running out fast. The way you hide rage when having an audience, yes. Like if I was doing this alone, I might be like cussing all over the place because I'm getting all the thing wrong. But now that I have to pretend to be like a cool person, it's all good. Because maybe it's that you're sharing this experience with me. But I don't know, I feel like even if there was nobody on the other side, I'd still feel the same way. Even if I was just pretending to stream. Which, like, maybe you guys should do that. Maybe you guys should just try pretending to stream all the time. Or not all the time, but, like, when you're doing something that normally, like, being performative about it would help you. Do it. It's okay. That might be why singing in the shower is, like, it's, like, the exact opposite. Because most people don't want to sing before an audience because that's, like, being vulnerable. That's why they say, like, pretend there's no crowd or pretend they're in their underwear when you're performing. You can choose. You can, if you're doing something that shows vulnerability, and yeah, do it like there's nobody there because that's how you do it best, and that's how they'll want you to do it. And any other way is lying to yourself, being disingenuous to yourself. So don't do that. Generally, we agree that there are a few things that are bad, and that is one of them. But if you're doing something where it's nice to share it with other people, sometimes it's okay to pretend. Okay, let's finish off Rule 103. 103.1b. In an arch-enemy game, which we might get to later, these methods aren't used to determine who takes the first turn. Rather, the arch-enemy takes the first turn. Oh, that's basically like Commander, except there is somebody designated as the arch-enemy, and they have all the power. They get certain privileges, and this is one of them. 103.1c. One card, Power Play, states that its controller is the starting player. Sorry, let me see this. This sounds cool. Shh, it didn't happen. Oh, it's a conspiracy. If multiple players would be the starting player, one of the players is chosen at random. Oh, it would be funny if it was like whoever has more power plays is one, and then display of power, which has nothing to do with power play. Or turn order, rather. Let's go small again. That's small. Okay. Some games require additional steps that are taken after the starting player has been determined. Perform the actions listed in 103.2a through e in order as applicable. These were all the ones A through E. Oh, it's talking about the next ones, okay. 103.2a. If any players are using sideboards, or cards being represented by substitute cards, those cards are set aside. After this happens, each player's deck is considered their starting deck. 103.2b. If any players wish to reveal a card with the companion ability that they own from outside the game, they may do so. A player may reveal no more than one card this way, and they may do so only if their deck fulfills the condition of that card's companion ability. The revealed card remains outside the game. See Rule 702.139, Companion. Whoa, that is specific. Whoa, my god. Sorry, 139. 139 sub-rules. Like, holy cow. Okay. I'm gonna enjoy reading that. 103.2c. In a commander game, each player puts their commander from their deck face up into the command zone. See Rule 903.6. 103.2D. In a constructed game, each player starts playing with sticker sheets revealed all of their sticker sheets and reveals all their sticker sheets and chooses 3 of them at random. In a limited game, each player chooses up to 3 sticker sheets from among those in sealed product they opened and reveals them. In either case, that player has access to only the stickers on the chosen sheets during the game, and those sticker sheets remain revealed. If you are somehow playing a game where you're opening or cracking those stickers open, you're slapping them on your cards, you're going crazy with stickers, and you run out of the stickers from those 3 sticker cards, you're done. It's over. It's over. You're done. Why would you? Why would you bring a sticker deck to a game store? I mean, I don't even. If I don't even see you as a person at that point. But that's besides the point. Stickers do something irrational to me. Stickers trigger something inside of me. The part of me that says every part of Magic the Gathering has to be sustainable, and the part of me that hated when I used my little toy car that had batteries because I thought the batteries were going to run out at any time, and I didn't want it to be the time when the batteries ran out, and I never wanted to use them unless it was really important. But you're never going to have a really important toy card playing time experience. So use the stickers if you like the stickers. I don't like the stickers. They're dumb. And they start falling off very quickly. 103.2E. In a conspiracy draft game, each player puts any number of conspiracy cards from their sideboard into their command zone. Alright, I forgot they just kind of do that. Okay. 103.3. After the starting player has been determined and any additional steps performed, each player shuffles their deck so that cards are in a random order. Each player may then shuffle or cut their opponent's decks. The players' decks become their libraries. The term deck and library is sometimes hard for people to grasp. Like new players, like I feel like they only half get it because I explain it to them specifically. Like, yeah, this stack of cards, it's your deck. Also, we call it your library. You'll get used to it. But then they never really understand the difference until they have to learn this rule, and they have to learn that it's a deck before it's a library, and any time when you're playing with it, it's a library. And it's really weird because it's not intuitive. There's nothing in the game that states that until you see a card that says a deck may have any number of 7 dwarves as long as it's made to have 7 cards named 7 dwarves in it. And then you're like, wait, but isn't this my library? And then because it doesn't say starting deck, and what's the difference between starting deck and library? And you realize that it's supposed to say starting deck, but it doesn't, because I don't know why it doesn't say starting deck. Because like Tempest Hawk should say any number of a starting deck can have any number of cards named Tempest Hawk in it, because when you're constructing your deck, it's your starting deck, and then when you're playing it, it's your library. 103.3a. In a game using one or more supplementary decks or non-traditional cards, this goes back to attractions. For example, each supplementary deck's owner shuffles it so the cards are in a random order. Each player may then shuffle or cut their opponent's supplementary decks. There are definitely some arguments you can make about the term random. Magic the Gathering basically states that you can't know any information about the cards besides what cards are in your deck. So this is why mana weaving and like pile shuffling is not allowed, because argue it or not, this is the decision that's been made, because you're giving yourself some knowledge about the cards in your deck, you're giving yourself some minuscule advantage in knowing that they will at least be shuffled this way, that they will at least be separated in this particular pattern. If you shuffle afterwards, it's fine. Nobody's going to call you up for that. But technically, you don't get more than one pile shuffle in any event. But again, that's like DCI rules. That's why those rules exist. It's because we live in a real world. uh, and where the term random actually means something to us. 103.4. Each player begins the game starting with a starting life total of 20. Some variant games have different starting life totals. 103.4a. In Two-Headed Giant game, each team's starting life total is 30. 0.4b. In Vanguard, each player's life total is 20 plus or minus the life modifier of the Vanguard card. I've never played Vanguard. I don't know what Vanguard is. But if you look for type Vanguard, then you'll see these cards exist in the game. These are non-traditional Magic cards, so you'll never put these in your decks. But yeah, they exist and I don't know what they do. Maybe we'll figure this out. Maybe we won't figure this out. But hey, there we go. Starting life. I don't know why they're all blank. Oh, this one has stuff here. So this is not legal anywhere, unless you're playing Vanguard. It's from Vanguard series. That was back in... what's that? In 1992. Okay. 1997. they were not a thing in 1992. Magic was not a game back then. It was merely concepts of a plan. In a Commander game, each player's starting life total is 40. We know this. In a two-player Brawl game, each player's life total is 25. But in a multiplayer Brawl game, each player's life total is 30. And in an Archenemy game, the Archenemy's life total is 40. I guess the other players' life totals are 20 to start? Each player draws a number of cards equal to their starting hand size, which is normally 7. Some effects can modify that. A player who is dissatisfied with their initial hand may take a mulligan. First, the starting player declares whether they will take a mulligan. Then, each other player in turn order does the same. Always going through turn order. And that's what that one commenter, I think, was making the point about CEDH, is that because it's so interactive, at any point, and people have like free spells, you have to be sure, if you want to take an action, that the people before you have gotten a chance to take actions, which is why AppNap, active player, non-active player, turn order is so important to the game. And you should try CDH once or twice or 3 times. I don't know. He says it's good. It really trains you on that skill. Mulligans. Once a player has made a declaration, all players who decide to take mulligans do so at the same time. You don't get to see if your opponent likes their second mulligan, or likes their first mulligan before you take yours. You all declare if you're going to take it while you still have your first hand, and then you draw your second hand, all at the same time. And to do that, you shuffle the cards in your hand into your library, draw a new hand equal to the starting hand size, and then put a number of cards back equal to the number of times you have taken a mulligan on the bottom of your library. I would explain this in further detail, but I actually think you all probably know this, and I don't want to make this any longer than it has to be. Once a player chooses not to take a mulligan, the remaining cards become that player's opening hand. Is the Better Than Wolves of Magic? Well, now I have more research to do. Better Than Wolves. Yes. What you're hearing is correct. Okay, this is stupid, like, this is stupid complicated for, yeah, you shuffle it back in, draw, put one back for every time you've done this, and they go on the bottom. I guess it is a long explanation. Once the player chooses not to take a mulligan, the remaining cards become your opening hand, and that player may not take any further mulligans. This process is then repeated until no players take a mulligan. So let's use my nail polish as examples because they kind of look like people. They're two different people, and this is Bob and this is Fred. And Bob says, "I'm the starting player." So starting player chooses first. I don't like my hand. I'm going to take a mulligan. Do they take a mulligan? I can't hear you guys. You gotta be way louder than that. No, not yet. Player two gets to say. So he goes, okay, Frederick, how about you? Frederick says, I do not like my hand either. So now they've both agreed to take a mulligan. Do they take a mulligan? Yes, good job. They both discard or shuffle their hands back in, draw a new hand. Now, Bob says I like my new hand. Fred says I don't. Bob goes, oh wait. Now if you're taking a mulligan, I might as well. Because I actually didn't really like it. I was just waiting to see if you did. You don't get to do that. So Bob is stuck with this second hand that he doesn't quite like as much, whereas Fred gets to take a second mulligan, and if Fred likes it, then you're done. If he doesn't, he's probably screwed. He's probably losing the game pretty bad. But that's magic. 103.5A. In a Vanguard game, each player's starting hand size is 7 plus or minus the hand modifier of their Vanguard card. I should try Vanguard someday, it sounds interesting. 103.5B. If an effect allows a player to perform an action anytime that player could mulligan, the player may perform that action at a time. Oh, I don't think you need to explain this. They may perform that action at a time when they would declare whether they will take a mulligan. Okay. This need not be the first round of mulligans. Other players may have already made their mulligan declarations by the time the player has the option to perform this action. If the player performs the action, they then declare whether they will take a mulligan. Serum Powder, we're looking at you. We're looking at you, Serum Powder. Any time you could. I don't know how it words this. Mulligan. So Serum Powder is the only card that mentions mulligans in the game, besides Backup Plan, but it doesn't have the same wording. So Serum Powder is the only card that says at any time you could take a mulligan, and Serum Powder is in your hand, you may exile all the cards from your hand that draw that many cards. Right after that happens, you get to choose if you take a mulligan. And if you just so happen to draw another Serum Powder, do you take the mulligan? Nope. Nope. Because this triggers it again, and this says, now is a time when you would take a mulligan, so now Serum Powder happens again if you happen to draw your second one. 103.5C. In a multiplayer game and in any brawl game, the first mulligan a player takes doesn't count. Multiplayer and in any brawl game. Doesn't count towards the number of cards that player will put on the bottom of their library or the number of mulligans that player may take. Subsequent mulligans are counted towards these numbers as normal. Okay. 103.5D. In a multiplayer game using the shared team turns option, each player on this. Oh, I need to know this. First, each player on the starting team declares whether that player will take a mulligan. Then the players on each other team in turn order do the same. Logical. Teammates may consult while making their decision. Their decision has to happen at the same time. Doesn't have to be unanimous. Then all mulligans are taken at the same time. A player may take a mulligan even after a teammate has decided to keep their opening hand. So you don't have to agree about liking or disliking your hand with your teammate. You just have to agree to the above rules about mulligans. But do the whole deciding thing, flipping and flopping back between teams. 103.6. Some cards allow a player to take actions with them from their opening hand. Once the mulligan process is complete, the starting player may take any such actions in any order. Any order, which means any order they choose. Then each other player in turn order may do the same. Point 6a. If a card allows a player to begin the game with that card on the battlefield, the player taking this action puts that card onto the battlefield. I don't know why that is. Has to be stated. Point 6b. Alright, we're going to speed through this. If a card allows a player to reveal from the opening hand, the player taking this action does so. Okay. The card remains revealed until the first turn begins. Ooh. We're going to read this again. If a card allows a player to reveal it from their opening hand, the player taking this action does so. The card remains revealed until the first turn begins. Each card may be revealed this way only once. Being revealed is a very strange action that I'm not actually fully sure about the implications of. But in this sense, it would appear as though the state of being revealed is something that can be tracked for a certain amount of time until the first turn begins, I guess. And it looks like you don't have a choice, but if there's no judge nearby, nobody is there to prove that you don't have a card in your opening hand that allows you to reveal it. You don't have to. It is private information. This rule doesn't say it, but nobody can get you out on that. It's like having a morph card that can't flip up. You're not forced to show your opponent the morph card until the end of the game. There you go. That was a really bad example. 103.6c. And a multiplayer game. Oh, good night. Thank you so much for coming and watching, Crystal. Okay, how much is left? Okay, we're gonna get through this. In a multiplayer game using the shared team turns option, each player on the starting team, in whatever order that team likes, may take such actions. Are my fingers here? Wait. Where did I just read this? Oh, 93.6. Such actions. Here we go. These are such actions. Okay, oh, it's full screen again. What am I doing? Is this amateur hour? What's even happening here? Such actions. Teammates may consult while making their decisions. Then each player on each other team in turn order does the same. So these actions are the 0.6 ones, where you can take actions from your opening hand. It's like if this card's in your opening hand, you may reveal it. Those things. It is set. I can do this now. Yeah, so this just means you do it in turn order. And you do it whoever wants to go first in your team. 103.7. In a plane chase game, the starting player moves the top card of their planar deck off that planar deck and turns it face up. If it's a phenomenon card, the player puts that card on the bottom of their planar deck. Like Uno, if you get a weird card you don't know how to deal with, you put it on the bottom for the first turn. And repeat the process until a plane card is turned face up. The face up plane card becomes the starting plane. See Rule 109, plane chase, and that concludes. Oh, does that? No, no, it doesn't. 103.8. The starting player takes their first turn. Easy, nice, fast, good. Okay, 103.8a. In a two-player game, the player who plays first skips the first draw step. The player who plays first skips the draw step of their first turn. So, just to get this straight, if you're playing Commander, a normal Commander game has a free mulligan and you don't skip your draw step. If you're playing Commander and it's a 1v1, neither of those things are true. There is no free mulligan and there is no first draw step for the starting player. The reason is because you losing one card on all your opponents in a multiplayer game means you have 1 to 3 less. But in a two-player game, it's 1 to 1, and you knew the stakes, and it's not as much of a risk. So it's more balanced, and this is what the game was balanced for. 103.8b. In a two-headed giant game, the team who plays first skips the draw step of their first turn. Same idea. 103.8c. In all other multiplayer games, no player skips the first draw step. And we've made it to 104, ending the game, which is a perfectly poetic way to say that I am ending the stream. Thank you, my 2 viewers, which I'm pretty sure are just some kind of aberration of the way that YouTube handles this. I don't know. Anyway, this was fun. I might not ever do this again. I hope I do. I hope I get the drive to do this again. But it takes a lot of having no responsibilities and a lot of ruminating with a lot of free time beforehand to decide to do this, and then actually do it. So if you're in the same time zone as me, good night, get some sleep.